I just give you a map here and to show you the best, through the active mining projects nowadays in China. So you see all the dots with different colors represent different type of commodities and projects there. So it looks like the south and the east are pretty much heavily involved in the mining activities. But if you're looking towards the west, it's a sparsely populated area and where actually they got lots of potential to develop mining projects. Resource in China. China is a huge country and is really rich in some mineral resources. For example, it's really rich in the antimony, barite, fluorspar, graphite, indium, rare earths, and tungsten. At the same time, China is not rich in some of other resources and imports. For example, in chromium, cobalt, copper, iron ore, manganese, nickel, petroleum, platinum group, and potash. So we got something rich there, and we got something not that rich. This graph just gives you the example of the reserve we have now in China. If you look backwards there, you'll see we have over 50% of the rare earths, reserve worldwide. Then we got the moly, around 40%. Lead, coal, and fluorspar, they're all above 10%. That's really huge there as well. So we got another thing there as well. China actually is the world's leading producer of moly, coal, lead, fluorspar, and rare earths. If you look at this graph here as well, we produce well over 40% of the commodities there. You see the moly, coal, lead, fluorspar, and for the rare earths, actually, we produce more than 80%. That's really phenomenal. In terms of the mineral consumption, in the year 2012, China consumed a significant percentage of global production of the several resources there. So you see in the descending order is iron ore, coal, tin, nickel, aluminum, lead, zinc, and copper. They're all well over 40%. This graph gives you interesting the trend there to show the China imports the commodity there. For example, looks like the iron ore and copper concentrate, they showed pretty much the same trend. But if you look at the coal, actually the import is slow until the year 2008. Then it took off and accelerates until year 2012.
One part of the reduced demand for coal is for the government's focus on clean energy. That I understand, but will coal still play a major part? I think it does still now in terms of the energy mix for China. But how much will that change in the next 5 to 10 years in terms of reducing coal as overall part of the energy mix?
I think the coal probably at this stage probably accounts for 90%. Again, like probably 90%. The government probably would like to take a measure to reduce that one to the 70 to 60%. So if you look at from this perspective, I think that they're not going to develop new coal mines for the time being. They probably would like to consolidate. As I mentioned, you got to 11,000 coal mines nationwide. They probably would like to consolidate to 4,000 something, and with the 8 to 10 large one to produce 2/3 of the national production. So, and at the same time, they have to develop new technology to make it cleaner. So I think probably they do not have the plan to develop more coal mines. They just want to consolidate that one. And so the demand is still there, but not that high.
It is understood that in China, actually, the mining industry is highly fragmented for the time being. The reason for that is, we got too many mining companies. They operate in the same area, and we got the public companies, we got state-owned companies, we got collective-owned companies, private-owned, joint ventures, as well as the illegal mines there as well. In China, we have more than 10,000 coal mining operations, and more than 20% are located in Shanxi province alone. In terms of the gold mining, for the time being, I guess we probably have more than 1,000 mining companies there. Let's take a look. The US. In United States, actually, altogether, they probably only have 500 active mining companies in all mineral areas. So they only got 500. And in China, for the gold mining, we already exceed the 1,000. So the number here says that the mining industry in China is highly fragmented. I think this is a really interesting graph there, and to show you the real GDP, it's peaked in the year 2010 and decreased since then. And if you look at the number here, I guess this year will be around 2014 will be around 7.2 or 3, and by the year 2018, the GDP will be around 6%. But if you look at the ratio of government debt over GDP, it goes the other way around. So it looks like the debt actually bottomed at 2012. It picks up and grows steady till over 10% by the year 2018. Chinese economy performance has significant impact on the global mining commodity markets. And we all know that China has enjoyed rapid GDP growth in the past 3 decades. And I think the GDP will continue to grow, but at a more slower pace. It is predicted that moderate to strong demand for mineral commodities is likely to continue.
We've seen the World Bank cut the economic growth forecast for China from 7.6, 7.4, next year now 7.3, and then 7.1% in 2016. What does that mean for what previously was seen as China's insatiable appetite for resources, and therefore for the mining industry in China?
It's a good question. I think that as China develops, in particular for the last decade, and I think they have the oversupply there, and for the time being, the China just consumes those oversupplies, and also at the same time, the Chinese government is taking measures to crack down on the corruption as well in order to have a fair mining market there. And I think the government actually taking measures, to generate demand for the commodities. So they have policies there to develop the western regions. In order to develop the western regions, they have to have the infrastructure there, and they have to build the high-speed trains. And once those projects are underway, and I think the demand from the mining and from the commodity side will rise soon.
Even with the growth having slowed to just above 7%?
I think the previous number is more or less related to the property development. I think the property now probably has gone to the stabilized, and the next demand will come from the infrastructure and the high-speed trains, and I think the growth rate around the 7 and 7.2 or 3 is reasonable. That definitely is sustainable, I think.
I suppose the fact that China is so big, 7% growth is still a fairly good number, isn't it?
I agree with you totally. Yeah, China is really big plate, very, very big. So in that, because the base is so big, 7% is a huge number. For some countries, it can be 20%, 30%, but the base is so small, it's nothing there at all.